Welcome back, Better Investors, to another episode here on the BI Breakdown. And I have with me Will Meadows. So Will works with us here at the Cash Compound, and I guess I should say I work with you at the Cash Compound because you've been here a lot longer than me. So we're going to jump straight into it. Will, I appreciate you for being on today and sharing some knowledge and some information with myself as well as the audience. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. And I do want to know, I know the Cash Compound and its origin from like Jeremiah's point of view and Jonah's point of view.
But give you the truth.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I need to know what happened in the middle of that. How did Will become involved with the Cash Compound, and what exactly does the Cash Compound do?
Yeah. So I am one of the partners here at the Cash Compound. I'm the behind the scenes guy. I started off as a little bit of an entrepreneur doing a lot of motion graphics, graphic design, videography, and I actually went to school with JD back in the day. So I've known him forever. I've been helping him with a lot of his different projects, his One Voice, and some of the other stuff that he has going on. And he introduced me really early on. Like he heard about the infinite banking concept. He invited me to the local country club to hang out and come hear a session from Brent Kessler, our mentor here. Brent gave us the rundown. I'll be honest, I thought it was too good to be true.
Everybody does.
I was not sold.
It's everybody, yeah.
It was too good. We looked at the numbers, and I walked out of that meeting. We talked for like an hour that night afterwards, and I told him, like, man, you go for it. You sign the papers. You put the money in, and a year from now, if those numbers,
let me know how it work out.
If those numbers look like they actually said they're going to look, then come back and get me. And that's legitimately actually what happened. He ended up connecting with Brent, and because I was doing the marketing stuff, he invited me to come do some graphic design stuff for the Money Multiplier. So I actually designed that X logo that they've got and some of their web design stuff early on.
Which I should have known.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Actually, it might be time for an update. We might have to talk about it. It's been years. I mean, this was 7-8 years ago.
Good branding, though. It was great. That's how I came into the fold.
Right.
So you and Jeremiah were a large part of it. I guess without me even knowing.
Right, exactly.
You and Jeremiah were a part of why I became my own banker, because Jeremiah helped write the book with Brent and Chris Noggle, and you pretty much designed that too as well. So, I mean, without me even knowing, I already kind of had a connection to you guys. So you were saying like you met Jeremiah and they already had that kind of, that connection with Brent, with starting to become their own banker. What made, I guess I would have to ask, what made them want to go and help other people become their own bank, but what made you see the value in helping them in terms of the Cash Compound? And of course, the Cash Compound, we help people become their own bank from start to finish, of having no policy at all to actually having a whole life policy set up and designed for banking. So what made you think like, man, these guys aren't crazy, and maybe I should get involved with some part of how I can help other people become their own banker?
Yeah, well, it was very much a situation where I'm sitting there going, if this is true, how come I've never heard about this? Where was this information at? What's going on? And I realized, like, it really is like the old boys club. Like the people out there who need the secrets, they got the secrets.
Yeah, they know what they need to know already.
And it wasn't like they weren't willing to share. Obviously, Brent was giving this information out, but he just had a very specific audience that he was targeting, and he was doing it really well. And Jeremiah was starting to, write some of the content on that book, trying to make these things understandable so that the average Joe, us, could understand what was going on. And so as he started to break down the concepts and make it easier to understand, and instead of having to show somebody a giant spreadsheet with 1 million numbers on it, he started saying, what if we just stuck it into cups or buckets of money? What if we didn't show people 1,000 numbers but just explained how banking works?
So just simplify the process. And I know the 3-cup setup helped me a lot. I was actually around before the 3-cup setup, and I know after the 3-cup setup, I'm like, why didn't you start me here?
Right.
Instead of trying to explain it in so many different ways. So for me, I was like ultra confused for like a year straight.
Yes.
And when the 3-cup setup happened, it wasn't until after I already met with Jeremiah like 3 or 4 different times to try to understand I understand what it means to be my own bank, all this good stuff. You tell me all these, all the perks and so on and so forth. I can choose how to pay it back, when to pay it back, all this other good stuff. But, dude, I need it one more time.
The visual,
right? One more time.
Breaking it down.
And I think the biggest thing, I think I can say this. I can't speak for everybody, but I think I can say this for the most part. Everybody pretty much struggles with trying to realistically grasp the concept of, when I put my money in, I'm not actually taking from my money when I take it out.
Right.
I think that's the biggest part for everybody because we're not used to being able to collateralize something. Yep. Most of us don't have like major assets already. Like, so unless you already have like land and houses and so on and so forth, if you're the everyday Joe, you don't have a lot of assets you can collateralize. So you're not used to that process. What we are used to is taking withdrawals when we put the money in the bank, pull it out. We take it back out, right? So treadmill money, I got put onto that terminology last year.
I like that.
It's an in and out effect, whereby being your own banker is more like a recycling effect.
Definitely.
Yeah. So one thing you didn't mention about yourself, you said you went to Bob Jones. You are a professor.
Yeah, I do some adjunct work. I graduated a couple years before Jeremiah and then went out to start doing graphic design. I do teach at the local university. Just a couple classes. It's not very many, but it's some of those graphic design classes that are fun and enjoyable. I do that a lot. I also didn't mention one of my other favorite entrepreneurial efforts.
Is, okay. Go ahead.
Is the hobby. I have a YouTube channel called Tantrum House, and myself and a bunch of friends review board games on there. And it's a little crazy. People literally send me, like, I'll get home tonight and there'll be 2 board games on my doorstep delivered.
You got to do this.
Yeah,
we want to see you do it. So what's crazy is, and I was thinking about something like when he described himself just now, he's like oversimplifying who he actually is. You do a lot, man. You really do. Between producing content like for myself, Jeremiah, Jonah. So like literally, you're doing Tantrum House content. You're doing the Cash Compound, the Banking Bros content, and you even do like outsource work as well. Right. Other people come to you, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and you have your students. I do. So like, man, you have a lot on your plate.
And I got 3 kids and a wife and church and everything's going on.
Don't forget that, right? The family as well too. Which you have a lovely family as well. I can see Liam kind of wanting to do something like what you do.
He's been slipping in here a little bit. Yeah,
I've been seeing him do more and more, kind of leaning towards what you do. What I would say is, with what you do in terms of like graphic design, what made you choose that lane, like coming out of high school and going into college? What made you want to even get into that?
Yeah, I've always been just creative. I love drawing. I grew up drawing my own comic books.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to spell, but my drawings were great. I should bring them in sometime to show them to you. They're hilarious. I knew from the beginning. I saw the title graphic designer on the credits of a video once, and I was like, what's a graphic designer? As a 10-year-old or whatever. And I just kind of knew that was where I was at. I do enjoy. I've always said that I enjoy being a producer rather than a consumer. Yeah. So I don't, unfortunately, do a lot of reading. I don't watch much TV. Like, I just don't consume nearly as much as I produce. I just enjoy that creative output. I think I'm probably a little ADD. Never been diagnosed, but like I like being busy.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 sides of our brain. I think like the right side is more like artistic and the left side is more logical based or whatever the case is. Yeah. So you just like, you have that more artistic approach to life and what you do. Me,
you're a numbers guy.
I'm more of a numbers guy. Now my way of expressing myself through art is through music.
Yeah. Which is kind of numbers.
So
honestly,
exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's like more like sound. And when I do mixing and mastering, it used to be like analog, now it's digital. Mm-hmm. So it's still dealing with math, just like you said, finding the right frequencies, the right mix to where it's the perfect ratio blend between like vocals and actually having a beat and so on and so forth. So man, that's awesome. When you came into becoming your own bank, what were some of the first things that you wanted to do with your banking system?
Yeah, so honestly, the reason that was most attractive to me was, as an entrepreneur, I really didn't have any type of retirement stuff set up. I didn't have the 401k because I was on my own. And so when I found out that I could use infinite banking for retirement purposes, that was like the biggest sell. Plus, I got kids, so I'm in for the life benefits, and just really to see it work was the most amazing thing. When Jeremiah was showing me his numbers and saying, "Look, this is how much I put in. This is how much I can get out. It really is what they said it was." Well, then it was kind of a no-brainer. Because I'm not a numbers guy, I've always been leery of the stock market. I've never been that interested in investing in some of those types of things because I just don't have the mental time and capacity to run all the numbers and make intelligent choices out there. So when this was like it's not really a set it and forget it, but it was like, I can just deposit into my bank like I normally would. I know it's going to be there forever, compounding and growing. I know I'm going to be able to use it for retirement purposes. I got kids who are going to college soon. I was I actually had done some work for a tax lawyer, or not a lawyer, but an accountant. And
you got some familiar.
Yeah, like those tax breaks as well. And then her confirming all that. It was just like, this is what I need to be doing.
Yeah. And I think one thing like you just hinted on is it's not a set it and forget it. I think a lot of people think like, I just get this. And they kind of think of it almost as like a long-term hold in terms of.
Well, the beauty of it is it's safe in that way, but then you have the freedom to do whatever you want because it is your bank, which is awesome.
Yeah, but banking in itself is a verb, right? So, like, it's the motion of it. So, like you were saying, well, it's not so much of a set it and forget it. You know, I'm using it. The more I use the policy, the more I understood the policy, right?
Correct.
So, actually, and I tell the people that all the time, I'm like, dude, check this out.
When I started,
can ask me a million questions, but until you actually go through, even if you don't get started, you at least need to go through the application process to see an illustration. And not just any illustration, because we illustrate things all the time, like inside of our video, which you created, we illustrate, you know, a person buying a car 3 different times. We illustrate somebody getting out of $231,000 in debt, and they were able to do that in 6.5 years versus on paper it should have taken them around 23 to 25 years, right? But that is something that pertains to someone else. So when you watch it, you understand it, but you don't understand it for yourself.
Right.
Whereby when somebody realistically knows, okay, I save $500 a month, let me see what that looks like inside of a policy based on my life. And then realistically, now that I have these numbers, oh yeah, I have some credit card debt, or I need to get the car fixed, or whatever the case is. You can start to actually picture it for yourself versus it being a hypothetical situation or something that worked for somebody else, but you don't actually know if it works for you.
And the beauty is once you actually start doing it, it gets easier, it gets better. Like I've done some hard money lending where I've taken the cash that's available in my policy, I've lent it out, I've borrowed against it from the insurance company, so I'm paying interest to them, but I'm lending it to somebody for a higher interest rate. And to see those numbers line up and to come back into my bank account and put it back in and keep that money in motion is huge.
Now, one big thing of what you were saying, so like you were paying some interest to the insurance company, but it was the return that you were getting on private lending was greater than that. Another thing we talk about it, we don't talk about it a lot in terms of like paying ourselves back. I started to notice that people understand it kind of like a 0% interest credit card. I started trying to make that comparison, which Jeremiah hates. He absolutely hates it. But it helped me understand it a little bit better for myself, because the interest on your policy loans are prepaid.
Right.
Which I didn't fully understand all this until...
There's a lot. There's layers.
Right? So it's prepaid. So if you pay back the loan within a year's time, just like a 0% interest credit card, you don't actually pay any interest.
True.
Right? So if I were to take a loan and from my policy, and let's say $1,000, and I pay this loan back of $1,000, all of that 1,000 is going back. But more importantly, the interest that I would pay actually goes towards growing my death benefit. Versus if I kept that loan out past a year's time, the interest would go to the insurance company, and I would only get back the 1,000 that I took out of the policy.
Right.
Which is something that we talk about on the phone, but we don't actually put it out there a lot. So that's just, I heard you mention it, so I want to kind of break it down for people. When we're talking about paying interest back to ourselves, it's like, well, what's the difference between paying interest to the bank or paying interest to the insurance company and so on and so forth? The big difference is, for one, you keep the money you pay
that
back,
interest is coming to you.
And for two is that you have the opportunity to actually gain wealth off the interest, just like a bank or a credit card would. So, great, man. You dove into that. I do want to know some more about Tantrum House, because I know about it, but what I do know is like every time I come around you guys, and I was telling Mackenzie that I was like, one thing I do like being around Jonah and Jeremiah and Will is that they bring me back to that childhood version of fun, like board games, more dealing like hands-on and stuff like that. Like nowadays you got hand-eye coordination or whatever the case is, but it seems like the world, especially after COVID, is becoming more and more distant by technology. So the technology is separating us more than it is bringing us together and integrating us. So when I'm around you guys, it's funny because when I first start out, I'm like, oh, here we go with these games again. They just want to play a game that they know that they're already good at, and it's like, how am I going to be able to seriously compete? And you don't think that you're going to have as much fun as you think you are. when you first start out, but it's like once the game gets going,
I got you to believe it.
Exactly. Like once the game gets going, it's like, man, this is genuinely fun. Time passes, and it's better than any video game you can actually play, actual board game. So just dive into like Tantrum House a little bit more and tell us more about it.
Yeah. Well, first off, I would say it does kind of come back to that core belief that for me, I want to work with people that I genuinely enjoy being around. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite parts about entrepreneurialism is that if I have a client that is driving me crazy and I hate them, I just cut them off. Like I don't have to work for this person.
Yeah, you don't necessarily
the boss is me, so I'm not going to be in a fight with myself. So I really do enjoy just the cohesiveness, the fun that we have here at the Cash Compound. Everybody that works with us, we try to recruit the people that are going to be a great fit and that we can have a great culture around, so that we can encourage and help each other. Plus, encourage and help a bunch of other people. I mean, that's part of our main mission, is teaching people how to do this. We're not trying to get rich off of them. We're just trying to help people understand what we were never taught, which is that you can do this for yourself. And I think we're pretty good teachers at it, which is pretty cool. On the fun front, I've been a fan of board games forever. I grew up on those. My family played them all the time growing up. When my wife and I got married, we immediately had kids, and all of a sudden the budget went from like, let's go out and have movies and dinner, to like, oh, we got to buy diapers. We can't afford budgets and dinner. So we started staying in, and we had a friend who had a bunch of board games, and so he started coming over. We've literally been doing game nights at our house on Monday nights for like over a decade, almost every Monday, holidays excluded or whatever. But we've been playing games forever. I enjoy it because it is that it's a little bit consuming, but it's also producing. Like I'm managing strategies and managing resources, and I'm playing this game and I'm thinking through it. I like the mental exercise that it brings. I also very much enjoy sitting around the table, having a good time, connecting with other people, which I do think is huge. I agree. Too much technology has us staring at a screen, and we're LOLing instead of actually laughing out loud together, which I super love. So that's a big part of who I am.
We have great conversations too.
I love it.
So I think it's like
we've got a diverse group. So it's
exactly right. Everybody. I think what I love the most about being around you guys is that it challenges the way I think. Right. So I don't want to be in a room full of yes men, and like we all think the same way. We all agree to the same stuff, because then it's like, well, anything trivial, we don't have any. We're inside of an echo chamber. I think that's what they call it.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you're inside of an echo chamber, you're not actually hearing anything new. You just keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again. So that's what I love about it. Whether it's like when it comes to belief systems, different
financial practices, family
practices, government politics, affairs and whatnot. So it's just a different way of thinking, where it's like, man, I thought about something this way, but this person, they believe something very similar to what I believe, but they challenged how I believe what I believe. And like, that's one of the biggest things is like, I never want to be a person where I think that here's what I know and it has to be the only truth. It has to be the only way. I want to be around people that's like, man, I believe what I believe. Like I love being around Jeremiah, because I told him one time we were out of town or whatever, and we had it was a situation that occurred, but the way he handled it, I was like, man, you genuinely do make me probably want to attend your church.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people I come across, and I'm like, you make me want to go to your church, right?
Yeah,
I was
real.
like, man, whatever they doing over there. I might need to come get a little taste of
that.
Because my reaction to the same situation was not the same.
Yeah,
I was way
yours
more
was
involved.
a very reasonable, like, this is wrong and I'm going to stop it.
Exactly. My brain couldn't get over right and wrong. Whereby with him, it's not about necessarily the right or wrong. It was about his own personal principles and how he felt about himself
and what's best for the situation and for you.
Exactly. So he had a more leveled head, and he was able to think way beyond just the situation that we were in. And from just that moment going forward, it made me realize that I had a lot of maturing to do, and more importantly, it made me realize that I need to take a piece of that and walk away with it and learn something from it and say, man, you know what? Next time I come into a situation like that, I'm going to handle it differently, because I know what it looks like to be calm and in control of myself. So, man, that's why I love being around you guys.
I agree. I think that's huge. I think you've talked about it probably on your channel before, that arrival syndrome complex, where too many people out there think that they know it all, or that they can find it on a TikTok. TikTok is a great place to learn stuff, but if you're not open to actually learning things, if you're not, if you only have your little construct, you're limiting yourself in so many ways.
Yeah, and you said something else too that was very, very key. You said that we don't do what we do to try to get rich. And when I figured out that doing what we do means that we actually take a sacrifice on our end to be able to help people do this, that's what made me want to do it even more, because it explained to me why I hadn't heard of this before.
Right. That's
it made all the sense in the world. If I'm an agent and I can help somebody by designing a policy a certain way, the more benefits I take from the insurance company and give to the individual, the insurance company they don't like that arbitrage. So for them, they're saying, okay, cool. If I have to relinquish some of this power and control, I'm going to make sure that it comes out of your pocket, not my pocket, so to speak, right? And so that's what I liked about it, is I knew that genuinely if somebody took the time to help me and they explained all this to me, because I want to get a regular policy, I can get it in, snap. I can get it in a few clicks of a button, maybe a week's time, whatever the case is. I understood for somebody to take me through this full process and make less money than what they could have made on this same policy.
Right.
It helped me to
talking about commissions on life insurance sales.
Right? Exactly. It helped me to realize that there's something real about it. Exactly. It's like this is beyond just somebody wants to give me a policy, make some money, and when I die my family gets paid. This is a real wealth strategy. They have to know that this is genuinely going to help me, and they're going to see me again in the future. And we see that a lot. We see people that come back and get another policy for themselves again, or spouse, a family member, children, so on and so forth. So, which leads me into as well. So you told us you told us a little bit about Tantrum House. You told us about how you do banking, so on and so forth. And I'm going to have some links in the description for you guys, because you definitely want to go check out that Tantrum House. Before I move on from that, tell us, what is your favorite board game?
Oh, the tough one.
Yeah, which I'm sure it's hard. You played it.
Yeah. There's too many. Two favorite board games. You got Don't Mess with Cthulhu. I don't even know how to spell it. It's a social game. You're lying to each other. Somebody's bad, somebody's good. Trying to figure it out. It's hilarious. A great time.
Oh, it's kind of like that. Somebody committed a murder.
You gotta
find out who committed the murders. Okay, I got you.
A little bit of that, and then the other one I really, really enjoy is a game called Everdell. It's just beautiful. It's got the coolest components I've ever seen in a board game. There's also 1 million expansions for it, so you can make it bigger and better. Yeah, lots of fun on that one.
That's nice, man. That's nice. And so, like I said, you told us a good bit, man. What I wanted to know, you said you use your policy for some lending practices. I know you have more than one policy, so have you insured all of your kids and yourself and your wife as well?
Yeah, so we started off with a really small policy at the beginning because we were just kind of testing it out.
Yeah, put your foot in.
Right, exactly. Right? Yeah, and like I said, because I was self-employed, I didn't have insurance on my wife anyway, so it was like, well, we'll kill two birds with one stone. Let's get some life insurance on her. After we saw how it worked, we were like, well, okay, while we're at it, let's put one on each of the kids. I think we're actually up to like 6 policies now. Okay. And what we've been doing is pretty much like one a year since we got started, adding to it, and just kind of as the cash flow is available, start a new policy and start growing that bank and all those branches of the bank. And then I don't know that I honestly would have done as much with the policies. I think I probably would have done the set it and forget it thing and just used it as a bank to get interest. But being around these guys, movers and shakers, I mean, there's opportunities here. So I've done a couple different things. Jonah and I have partnered up. We bought a house that we're renting out now. We've done some hard money lending. I bought a refrigerator. I mean, just some of those small things where I was able to use the money like an actual bank to lend it to myself, to accomplish things with it, to grow that interest, and then to pay it back and grow it even bigger. And I'm always looking for new opportunities.
Yeah, man, I think the beauty of it is one thing I liked coming into this opportunity and being around you guys as well is I was like, man, I'm around other people that have liquidity the same way I do. Like, we all have, quote unquote, the same. We have something to lose. Yeah. We all know the experience of being around somebody with nothing to lose. Like, they're doing something crazy and you're like, bro, what are you doing? Right. They're like
they're a different plane.
I don't got nothing to lose. It's like, well, I got something to lose. So let's not go to jail tonight or whatever the case is, right? Because it's like, you know the difference between somebody that has something to lose and somebody that doesn't, because they don't care. You're more reckless and you don't think before you act and so on and so forth. Here, I liked it because I was like, man, if we had a deal or something we could do together, like you could leverage your policy, I could leverage my policy, Jeremiah and Jonah, we could all come together and do a deal or whatever the case is.
Bigger stuff,
and even we can leverage each other, just like I did with Jeremiah. I leveraged Jeremiah and I borrowed money from his policy and I'll be paying him back because the opportunity cost made sense in what I was trying to do. Yeah. So even though I can use my own banking systems as well, I have liquidity in my banking system. And I also was able to leverage his banking system.
Perfect.
So it's the same way we do already. It's not when you go buy a car or a house, you might already have some money in your account, but you still kind of leverage that bank to be able to make that purchase. So yeah, man, like I was saying, I appreciate everything you answered all my questions. I don't that I really wanted to know and leading up to. So we talked about you had multiple policies. Just kind of do a little bit of recap. You got a viral YouTube channel, viral
would be great. Let's go viral.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm speaking some things to existence for you, but
there we go. Appreciate that.
How many subscribers do you guys have?
Something in the 40,000 range. We've got a good handful.
Man, that's awesome, and I definitely hope you guys continue to have some success. I went to the Tantrum Con or whatever it is, and I'm in there. I'm like, whoa,
it's a whole other world. We got subcultures, and it's crazy.
Exactly. It's an entire community. So man, it's awesome. Like I said, much luck. I hope you guys are blessed and continue to have be prosperous in what you're doing and continue to have success. And until next time, guys, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know some things that you would like to hear us talk about. And of course, we will have some links inside the description so you can get in touch with Will. He does do graphic design. Maybe there's some things that you want to do for your business, or you have a channel or something like that and you want to make it look better. That's what Will does. He takes things and make them look better. That's his job description, as well as some other things as well. So we'll have some links in the descriptions. Guys, better investments equal a better future. Will, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, man. You gonna leave me hanging there? I appreciate you coming on. Better investments equals a better future. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.